Between the video games and the anime, the world of Pokemon has always been filled with dreams and adventure. And speaking of adventures, the Pokemon manga is there to take you on a journey unlike any other you've seen in the Pokemon franchise. While the games and the anime take great strides in showing the world of Pokemon, the manga goes even farther. The Pokemon manga has been around for quite some time. It originally published the same year the anime came out, but it tells a vastly different story. The stories of the manga are split into generational arcs, and today we're focusing on the first two in the series. The first is the Red, Green, and Blue arc, which loosely covers the story found within the original games Red and Blue, and the next arc is the Yellow arc, which tells an entirely different original story. These two arcs have a huge impact on the series going forward. Being the start of the series, they had a big assignment. This, of course, was to build the world using the video games as the source material, as well as making a plethora of original content from scratch. That is what the focus of this video is going to be about. We aren't going to dive into the story in this video, but rather look at how the manga expanded the world of Pokemon far better than the anime or the games have ever done. It becomes very apparent that Hidenori Kusaka, the writer of Pokemon Adventures, used the games as the starting point for the series. From the beginning, the game mechanics found within Red and Blue are utilized and adapted in such a creative way into the manga. From needing to weaken a Pokemon before a capture, to gym badges giving trainers and their Pokemon power, there are a lot of small details like these that help the manga fit into the world of Pokemon. Going a step further, there are some game mechanics explained in a unique way that the games don't even bother with. Although held items were not fully realized until Generation 2, they make a small appearance from the beginning. Another example is the way that the manga treats HMs. From what I can tell, it seems that HMs aren't just moves you teach a Pokemon, but some kind of necklace thing that allows them to use the move. When I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind was Ride Pokemon in Sun and Moon. The best thing, though, that the author utilized from the games was hands down the Pokedex. The Pokedex is what the author used to explain the most basic game mechanics. In the game, while in a battle, you can see both Pokemon as well as their levels, moves, and health. In the manga, this is all displayed on the Pokedex for the trainers to take full advantage of. Even the ability to cancel a Pokemon's evolution is explained by using the Pokedex to cancel it by sending some sort of psychic waves to the evolving Pokemon. As we see in the anime and the games, the main function of the Pokedex is to give information about each Pokemon. It still functions in much the same way in the manga. In fact, I would say that the Pokedex in the manga is more accurate than what we see in the games or the anime. In the games we read, a Pokemon that consists entirely of programming code, capable of moving freely in cyberspace when talking about Porygon, but you never really see that put into practice. But in the manga, we see Blue actually using this to his advantage by teleporting his Porygon from a Pokedex to another one. Another example is when Koga is fighting Agatha. They are both using Arbok with different patterns on their skin. The Pokedex reads, "It is rumored that the ferocious warning markings on its belly differ from area to area." But the manga does not stop there. It explains that each mark gives Arbok a unique power. Koga's Arbok is actually the one that got sliced in half in an earlier chapter that people love to bring up, but because of its marking, it has the unique ability to regenerate, which we also see happen during this same fight. The author didn't have a lot to go off of during the early years of the Pokemon manga, so it makes sense that they used what they had in the games as well as what we know in real life. I think this also explains why Pokemon in the manga behave the way they do. You can tell they are sentient, similar to their portrayal in the anime, but they also feel more animalistic. When they do get personalities, it's a result of spending time with their trainer. They tend to behave and act similarly to their trainers, which explains why wild Pokemon are much more ferocious. Undomesticated Pokemon, like the ones found in the Safari Zone, are shown being territorial, fighting for a mate, and even eating other Pokemon. This is something that isn't shown too often in the other interpretations of the Pokemon world. Another thing that isn't shown very often in the Pokemon world is Poke-Love? What the hell? The misuse of Pokemon is shown in both the games and the anime, especially by the villains of those mediums respectively, but the manga pushes the envelope sometimes for what you would think the Pokemon world could show. Team Rocket really feels evil in the manga. They go from some random thugs with Rattatas to an evil organization amassing a powerful Pokemon army with the goal of world domination. Part of their evil schemes included experimenting on Pokemon to the point that caused a Gyarados to suffer from PTSD just by seeing members of Team Rocket. Not only that, they were also responsible for the reanimation of a bunch of Pokemon corpses. They of course are also to blame for the creation of Mewtwo, an incomplete clone of Mew. Blaine, the Cinnabar gym leader, was actually the lead scientist who created Mewtwo. After turning against Team Rocket, we learned that they didn't have enough DNA from Mew to finish the creation of Mewtwo, so Blaine used a portion of his own DNA, giving him a special connection to Mewtwo. It is really cool, but I don't want to give away all of the details regarding the story. While Team Rocket did all of this, the thing that is most common that shows their ruthlessness is their battle style. As a result of their training, the Pokemon that Team Rocket commanded are ferocious and often don't hold back in fights. On the flip side, our heroes and their Pokemon fight with more dignity. Even though the protagonists are fighting for the same cause, them and their Pokemon behave differently. This is a result of the way each trainer trains their Pokemon. Blue has a more rigorous training regimen, while Red tries his best to connect and care for his Pokemon. Neither is wrong in the way they train their Pokemon, but it's clear that Blue's Pokemon are more disciplined, while Red's are more cheerful, which of course mirrors the trainers themselves. Speaking of trainers, I get the sense that in the manga, Pokemon trainers are more of a scarcity. Multiple times there have been characters that are surprised to meet a Pokemon trainer when they meet Red for the first time. This is much more apparent during the Yellow arc. When cities are being attacked, the only people that seem to be fighting back are the gym leaders of those specific cities. I guess this would also explain why in the Pokemon games, that there's just some random 10-year-old kid trying to save the world by battling a bunch of adults. Battles are probably the main thing a lot of people think of when they think of Pokemon. In the games, they are turn-based, so we don't really get to see the combat. In the anime, it feels almost like they are still turn-based battles, but the trainers are able to command their Pokemon to dodge an attack. The manga, however, translates the battles in its own unique way. The battles in the manga are so different from the traditional Pokemon battles found in the franchise, and it's extremely welcomed. I've seen the battle system in the Pokemon manga compared a lot to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I completely understand the connection. Specifically the stand system found in Part 3 onwards. I'm no JoJo expert, in fact, I'm not really a huge fan of the series, but I do think the fights are super cool, as well as the unique powers each character has. In JoJo, the stands are like a manifestation of one's fighting spirit, and in the series they do the majority of the fighting. This doesn't leave the stand user out of the fight. In fact, more often than not, they get involved as well. In the Pokemon manga, trainers fight alongside their Pokemon, to an extent. No, they don't have fisticuffs with other trainers while their Pokemon duke it out, but it isn't uncommon to see a trainer have their Pokemon attack the other trainer directly. It's actually a part of Team Rocket's usual battle strategy to take out the trainers so they won't have to deal with the trainer's Pokemon. This is because it's much more easier to punch a kid than to kill a fire-breathing dragon. This form of combat gives Pokemon battling more life. Even the battles that aren't fought to save the world are still entertaining. It has been quite the pleasure to read the Pokemon manga. As of writing this, I'm not caught up yet, only about halfway through the Ruby and Sapphire arc. But I'm still loving it, and not just because I love Pokemon, but because the story is actually pretty fun. I do concede that I enjoy it more than most because it's Pokemon, but even people who aren't fans of the series should be able to find some enjoyment out of the manga. It's a must-read if you're a Pokemon fan, but if you're not, I still recommend checking it out, especially when it gets to the Yellow arc and beyond. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I plan to do more videos covering the Pokemon manga, specifically each arc and what I thought each arc did best. The next one will be the Gold, Silver, and Crystal arc, where I will actually be going over the story with full spoilers up to the end of that arc. Subscribe to the channel to know when that one comes out. Also, check out our Patreon to see the behind-the-scenes making of this very video, as well as other fun things like one of our recent manga shopping trips. Thanks again for watching, and as always, keep it rad!